Hello, I'm Amanda Killian, and this is an overview of my project based learning unit for trigonometry. As you see in the title, it is for a lamp project, adding trig to lighting design. And the driving question is how can one, as an architectural engineer, design panels for pendant lighting fixtures, both through digital and physical means, in order to incorporate trigonometric concepts, including right triangle relationships, law of sines, and law of cosines. And the goal would be to have this for 11th and 12th grade. Right now, I have seniors. And then in the spring, January ish, I will have 11th grade doing the trig. As you see, I have some standards listed. I focused on just a few math standards, although I could probably delve into more math standards. I also have some ISTE standards listed, and more so with like technology and application regarding some design. And over in this column, I have the group project would be that initially the students will be working on the platform Tinkercad to do some design in a group, but kind of individually, yeah, in a group. And then, according to the overall directions that I do specify when I give them the assignment, after, or I should say, in conjunction with that, students will be working on their individual project, which will basically be a Google Slide journal where they will have some prompts and some reflection things that they will need to address in that individual Google Slide. And moving right along, I do have for my time frame about 2 to 2.5 weeks. But as I was working on this, I feel like this might end up being more. I'm hoping not. So I guess once I implement it, we'll just see where it goes. But so overall, the students will be have two community partners that will introduce some design. One is Brandon Federoff, and he's very excited about this. He will be working with the students on to get them onto Tinkercad and to show them how the online Tinkercad works and how to make their visions, their designs, then come to life, so to speak, and to see it in a three-dimensional element. I'm also having Lisa Schiffer Miller come in. She's an interior designer, graphic designer, and she has some experience with, like I said, interior design. So she will be able to add some more to this whole overall project. As far as some career connections, in addition to any type of engineering, somebody who needs to design in an online platform, architectural engineers, graphic designers, other engineers, any place where there could be some sort of online design element in order to bring a structure into being. So let's move along to some of the learning goals. I do have the standards that I had listed earlier. I also have some 21st century learning skills focused on like critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, communication. They are working in a group, and this is something creative. It's not cookie cutter. Although they have the same information, they are the ones who are going to use technology and to bring this to life. Voice and choice. I just want to move over to that second column. Throughout the project, I really thought about ways that students could be able to make this their own. Although, again, they have the elements of the project and we are incorporating the mathematical content. I want them to be able to have some say in what it is that they're doing, and then they'll have some more ownership. So I have some choices there for the students. Reflection, I built a lot of this in as well. And I added some things here for each one of the milestones, and I have incorporated them into the milestones, as you'll see later. And maybe there could even be more, because sometimes when you're in the middle of teaching or working with students, you think of something and it's on the spot, and it might be something that might be added to the reflection. As far as sustained inquiry with this project, I feel that because the design element is, or is introduced to the students from two different individuals, from two different perspectives, and then the math content is introduced. This will keep the students hopefully interested and maybe see how things can, all be connected. Critique and revision. As students are working, I always circulate. So I feel like this is just innate to a project. And, going to students and having communication, having conversation with them and asking them why they decided to do something. So to give them the feedback as they work throughout the whole entire project. The public product, as I mentioned earlier, the groups will be creating pendant lampshades, and I'm hoping to get them hung, not hoping to, we'll get them hung in the main office in the front of the building, as well as in the guidance suite. And that way, other individuals can see what the students have created, and the students hopefully will be able to point that out to maybe their peers, and or if there's a public function here, other people from the community will be able to view their product as well. And the individual Google Slides I would like to have run on our morning announcements, which is broadcast over a YouTube channel. And, we'll just see. I have to be in collaboration with the Broadcasting Club and the advisor of that to see if I can bring that to fruition. Milestones and benchmark tests. I have kind of already mentioned milestone 1 and milestone 2. That's where I will have the individuals come and speak to the students regarding design, both of them again from a different perspective. In milestone 3, that's really where the heat of the content, the mathematics comes into play. And in milestone 4, that's when the students are pulling all of their design together. And then finally in milestone 5, they're taking their design from milestone 4 and making it into something tangible that will be hung. And I have their respective questions there. I also have some career connections for each one of those respective milestones, although some of them do overlap. I just kind of mentioned a little bit about them individually, or as a whole, I should say. I have some of I have some assessments kind of here, the activities, as far as, am I looking? I'm going to take you over. Actually, I want to take you over to Tinkercad. Let me see if I can pull this up. And, I do have something started here in Tinkercad. So the students would be, making some sort of design. I also have, I'll go back out of Tinkercad. But that would be the first one. And then main part for the first one. Milestone number 2, like I said, that would be with Elisa Schiffer-Miller, and she'll talk about size and other design elements when thinking about how to incorporate something into a room. And milestone 3, this is where the math is. And I have this separated a little bit into a little bit of a review about right triangles, and then introducing law of cosines and law of sines. I would like to pull all of their notes together. I do have handouts. Let me pull open my handouts. And the handouts will also correspond to some notes that I would have on Active Studio. And these are my Active Studio notes for law of cosines, and I have multiple pages and different. I would take them through some of the examples as needed. Same thing for law of sines. It's my Active Studio. In the notes in docs, I have law of cosines, which this is what I was saying. I want to have them all maybe copied, stapled, so that students could have them in a pocket folder. Law of cosines and law of sines. And then that way they have access to their hard copy of their notes as I'm doing any examples in class, and they can work through with me. I also have, and I have this listed on my plan, I also have some pre-recorded videos that correspond to those respective lessons on law of cosines and law of sines. So again, milestone number 3 is where a lot of the math is going to happen. But as I do have mentioned here, that some overlapping with milestone 4, so that as students maybe start to become more confident with law of cosines, perhaps they can get back over to Tinkercad, which I've mentioned in milestone 4, and start designing using those concepts from law of cosines. And then maybe back over to milestone 3, and we'll talk about law of sines, and we'll work through some examples there. And then back over to milestone 4 and start designing. So it's all kind of laid out. So a little more like content. There's the pocket folders. Milestone 4, like I just mentioned a little bit, this is where they're actually pulling everything together from the intro in milestone 1 with the Tinkercad design from Brandon, and then, some more design elements and general artistic elements from milestone 2, along with the content from milestone 3. Now we're really designing, and we're getting into those ISTE standards. We're communicating more and collaborating, and really just pulling everything together. A lot of, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I do have some, assessments and some critique mentioned. Chromebooks are used for this whole thing. Moving on. Milestone 5, they're going to bring their design to life. So I will have stations set up where, as the respective groups get to complete what it is they're doing on Tinkercad, then they can move right into the design with the foam board, drawing things to scale, cutting things out carefully. I'm not sure if it'll take the 3 to 4 days that I have planned here. Some groups, I think, will be able to pull things together maybe in probably 2, but at the same time, I don't want them rushing through things. And I pulled up some of my resources here. I pulled up Tinkercad. Oh, how about a rubric? So I do have a rubric. I did pull this from, I think I have it here somewhere at the bottom. I hope I gave credit to it. Yes. So PBL works, and a little different from many of the rubrics that I usually use, but I wanted to focus more on the standards and making sure that, the standards are hit, both the math standards and the ISTE standards. So I have some things written in those respective columns, a place where I can give the feedback, because I like that. And then if students go above and beyond, if they're really catching on, I also want to note that on behalf of the student. And then I kind of have this blended together. I also have the 21st century learning skills in there. And, the final reflection as an individual, which I need to pull up that document. Also the overall, or the Google Slides as the individual. And I do like adding the element of timeliness, getting students to really try to get things in an efficient manner. So that's kind of where I am right now with the rubric. I have a feeling I may want to separate this into 2, one for the group project and then maybe one for the individual project. But right now I just have them kind of grouped together. And pull up the description. So I do have included a description of the project, which I probably should have said earlier, as far as what students should be expected of them, to perform as a group as well as an individual. And so they would get that in the beginning and the rubric. And I pulled together some reflections, again, taking from PBL Works, because they had just had a nice layout. So I tried to use that, and this reflection would be after milestone 1 and 2, as you see at the top. And just, what are the major ideas presented by both of the respective speakers? Maybe if they've had any experience on Tinkercad, a general idea of maybe what they have in mind for their own respective their lamp panels, and what they're looking forward to most. And then I also have a final self-reflection, just to see kind of where students are on all this, and pulling everything together. What's the most important thing that you learned? And then about the project, and etc. So all of this is included. Let me get back over here. Yes, I think I hit all of the ones that are on here for my resources. And that is my overview, very brief. Well, not really very brief, but my overview of my PBL unit for the triangle lamp project for trigonometry.